And I hope, Gal, I hope you're listening, and I hope you hear that, because Gal the other day tried to tell me that, what was it, Arteta was now better than Conte. And I was like,
oh, no, I do believe that as well. I do believe that.
Right now, on current form, yeah. But as a manager, someone that, no, he's not. Come on. But Conte has won league titles in England and in Italy, and obviously has done it time and time again.
You're right. You're right. And Klopp was four. Well, he was about what 2 weeks away from winning the quadruple, and now you've got Jerry saying he wants him out. So we can't keep doing this backwards and forwards. Sometimes you just have to look at a manager and say, do you know what? His prime was there, and maybe he's not that great anymore.
But my point, Lee, my point isn't that Klopp's done as a manager. If you keep having the same narrative, being in the same kind of, just same tactics and the same kind of voice being heard over and over again, it becomes stale. Now, I'm saying Klopp has gone stale at Liverpool. That's not to say you can't go somewhere else, even to a national team, and be successful as well. I'm not saying that at all. He's an amazing manager. Yeah. But Conte's, like, Arteta yet has not proven that he's on the level of a Conte, though. So you can't put him on the level. The same way you said you can't put Potter on the level of Arteta because he hasn't won anything of note. You can't put Arteta on the level of Conte because Conte's won way more than he's done way more as a manager.
Look, if you're asking me right now, moving forward, who I think the better manager is, maybe I heard the question incorrectly, but if you're asking me right now who I believe is the better manager and moving forward, who's going to be the better manager, 100%, I believe Arteta is the better manager.
Until he wins something, until he wins the league,
But by the way, we need to stop saying that. He has won something. You mean the big trophies, because he has won something.
Well, yeah, like something, because Conte's won league titles. So to compare him to a Conte right now, and it's not you that did it. Yeah. So I know you're kind of catching us straight, but because you're an Arsenal fan, obviously, I just asked you the same question. But no, you can't say he's better going forward, because you lot might finish second or third, and then what? Do you know what I mean?
And that's fine, but I would still individually, because it's all about circumstances. Everybody needs to remember us. Like, no 2 seasons are ever the same. Last season we were 5th, the season before that we were 8th, and now we are currently 1st. So we can't keep doing this revisionist history. Right now, if you're asking me who's getting the best out of their players, who's got the better IQ, who understands the game, in my opinion, a little bit more and is a little bit more in vogue, I'm going to say the manager who manages Arsenal. If you look at what Tottenham and what Conte's doing, for me, I don't think there's any complexity. It's all very simplistic. I was at that North London derby. He did 3 at the back, and it's so basic. You look at what Ten Hag has done. I've got egg on my face because I have to take whatever Nietzsche said and say, look, the guy has come in and he's making moves. He's making changes, and the changes he's making are really effective in the way that they're playing. And not only has he brought in a quality player or quality players, but he's also changing the style and changing the process and changing the mentality. When I look at Conte, he was very lucky to get top 4. And I know, okay, fine, injuries.
No, he wasn't lucky. No, he wasn't. And the thing is,
look, I don't want to go into
but
then this season, it's always an excuse. In my opinion, there's always some sort of excuse as to why he gets away with it. If he starts moaning on the touchline, if he starts shouting on the touchline, it's passion. If Arteta does it, oh, he's this, he's a whiny guy, he's this and that, he's a Lego head. If Arteta comes up with something different and unique, if he comes up with something different and unique, there's a little bit of, oh, well, he's copying it from Pep. Well, no, he's not. He's using what he's got as his tools, and he's adapting to it. If Conte does it, oh, it's because he's been doing it for years and it works. You know, there's always some excuse and there's always something. But at the end of the day, I'm really, really happy with my manager. I don't want Conte. I would never want Conte. And the same way how every single Man United fan, would say, look, he's a great manager, but you didn't want him. Why? Why didn't you want him? Because you know that he's not that guy. It's that simple. I don't get why Arsenal fans are made to look
mad to say that Conte isn't that guy. Conte is that guy.
We have to wait until the end of the season. Why are we judging things by now? Let's wait until the end of the
season. Conte is a guy, but it depends what you want. Now, for what Man United needed and what Arsenal needed in terms of rebuilding, and it's going to take a number of years, I never wanted Conte. And people looked at me mad. Like, and when Gary Neville said it, people were like, all the people in the studio, what are you talking about? Conte is this. And it's like, and now we're seeing, I'm not saying, for me, Conte is better than Arteta, because we've like, he's got, put your medals on the table. He's better than Ten Hag, put your medals on the table. But for what we needed, I don't want Conte because Conte.
Okay. So what? Are you saying Arteta's better than Ten Hag? Then is that what you're saying?
1 second, Goonally, 1 second. After 2 years, especially with our board, Conte's throwing his toys at the pram, wants to leave, and we're starting from scratch again. So I think he's better than Ten Hag. I think he's better than Arteta, but he was never right for Man United, and I don't think he went for Arsenal.
That makes sense.
I've got a super chat here that's to Gunnar Lee. This is for the Arsenal fan. Where does Arteta rank currently, in your opinion, for managers in the world? Like, where would you rank him in the world right now?
I'm not going into the world because there's so many. I think it's disingenuous in the Premier League.
Let's say Premier League or Europe, yeah, because we obviously all watch that.
Yeah. In the Premier League, 100%. I'm going to say he's the third best manager. I still think Klopp's a very good manager. I just think he's got that bit of Arsene Wenger syndrome about him. I don't know if that's what you want to call it. I definitely do think, for me, that he's the third best manager in the league. I would obviously put someone like Carlo on top of him. I do like the manager of Napoli. I can't remember his name. It's popped out of my head now.
What also got Spalletti?
Spalletti, sorry, yeah. I think he's a very good manager, and just out of probably nostalgia, I've always got a soft spot for Mourinho. I just think he's a top manager. Maybe not anymore. I know he's not the same guy. I understand that, but I've always got something where I think he can cause havoc and he can do something really, really good with a top team. But that's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but. Yeah, I do think there are some really good managers out there, but Arteta is really, really good as well, equally, and he's showing it. He's showing it week in and week out. Everyone said that when we were playing the first test, we beat them. When we got to December, we got through that. When we came from after December, we're still getting through that. When we lose Jesus, we're currently still doing okay. Like, I don't know how many more things that you
forget that's whole irrelevance. That's whole irrelevance. It's a 38-game season. So let us see how the season ends. It's all good, doing good right now. What happens when you go through, like, you lose through 3 games back to back? You go through a tough rut. You can't just be like, Arteta, he's the best, his second coming. As of right now, so far, so good. So far, so good. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And you can only truly judge a manager at the end of the season. So come the end of the season, after 38 games, not 15, 100%. Not 16, not 20, after 38 games, where are you? Because if Arsenal finish second, wow, well done. You get third or fourth, pretty good. If you win, egg on my face. If you win this title, so
yeah, 100%, and I mean, obviously, you would say that as well because you're in the mud right now, so you have to wait that 38 games. I don't know.
But the thing though is that we actually have won a major title much more recently than you.
No, you have.
How long has it been? How long has it been since you won like a league or a UCL? Oh, you've never won a UCL. Henry dropped a disaster class in 06, didn't he? It was a disaster class. Damn it!
It's been so long that in 2 universes ago, I still had hair. That's how long ago it is. But I will say that, listen, man, Arsenal, if we do win the league, you think Argentina had those great celebrations? You think You think Tunisia, Morocco were taking over Edgware Road. Listen, you don't want to see Arsenal win the league, man, because you'll be back to Arsenal, bro.
But it ain't happening, bro.
We had a question that came through that says, sorry, I did star it. I must have unstarred it. It asked, who's been the best manager in the league so far this season? That was a question from one of our viewers. Who's been the best manager in the league so far this season? Pound for pound, of course.
Eddie Howe.
That is people hating, man.
Easy, Eddie Howe.
You can't. Eddie Howe. You got to remember that.
You're a hater, man. You're a hater.
We all act like Arteta's summer mate. Arteta's a good manager, but he's not performed miracles with breadcrumbs. He has been backed. He's been backed in the sense of the amount of money they spent. He's been backed in the sense of when he wanted big players like Aubameyang out, he got them out. Some managers don't have that authority to flex their muscles both ways. So look what Eddie Howe's done in a shorter tenure with less cash. Yes, Newcastle are a cash-rich club. We get it. But if you look at the players that Arteta's got compared to the players that Eddie Howe's got at his disposal, there's no comparison.
Can I just say one point to just rebuttal all of this? Before the season started, I was on the stream with you, Terry, with you, Neeks, and a couple of podcasters and obviously YouTubers. And nobody had us in the top 4. No one.
I did. Come on.
Terry did. No, Terry did. Let me just finish.
No. I need to correct you. I've got a date with the show. But 100% fact, you can go on my Twitter as well. I don't know if I've pinned that actually. I think my Pele tweets pinned. But I've got all my predictions at the start of the season, and I had Arsenal 4th. Granted, I had Tottenham 3rd, but I had Arsenal 4th. Fact.
Okay, fine. But you did, at this moment in time, at maybe that time, you didn't have us 4th. Yeah? So you didn't have us in the top 4. Okay, fine, not a problem. But what I am trying to say is, we've gone past Man City, who everybody had to be the first team, the number 1 team. Liverpool to probably be 2nd or /1st. We've also gone past Chelsea, who have spent £270 million and are going to probably spend another £200 million. You've gone past the dark horses. People need to remember this. The dark horses who were going to be Spurs. We've gone past them as well. So then the last team is Man United, who have spent the amount of money that they've spent. And obviously they've been backed by the Glazers. So I just have to think sometimes, yes, Arteta's been backed over the last 3 seasons, spending 300 and some, I think, £60 million. But if you actually have to think about what we have done in a short space of time, firstly, and what we've gone past.
It's not better than Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe was in a relegation battle when he took over, a legit, genuine relegation battle. And 12 months ago.
But the players weren't. Anyone can go in a relegation battle if they're not playing well. Liverpool are not playing well. Chelsea are not playing well. Chelsea are not a 10th place team. So what I'm saying is Newcastle were playing very, very poor at that moment in time, but their players weren't as bad as what.
No, but I got back Lee with this, man. I mean, you're looking at the stats. Arsenal have got what? 14 wins and 2 draws and 1 loss. Yeah, Newcastle have done well, but they've got 9 draws.
Bro, that is hate.
But look at the players that he's having to do.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't do that.
Oh, so now he's
regardless on how much money. But listen, regardless on how much money has been spent or not spent by a manager. Yeah, how many managers have actually spent the money and they're not delivered? Look at the trajectory he's gone and taken Arsenal. You can't. That's
no. But Jerry, the question was who is the best manager? And for me, in my view, it is the keyword management. 100%. What Arteta is done is amazing. Hence why I'll say he's second best. But so Patrick's point is, I think quality management is what do you have and what can you achieve with what you have. The fact is, what Eddie Howe has achieved with the ingredients that he has, for me, is better than any manager. Because remember, this is pound for pound. So pound for pound, who has been the best manager? Based on what Eddie Howe has and the tools to his disposal, he's performed better. Odegaard came from Real Madrid. Odegaard came from Real Madrid. Martinelli is a Brazilian international.
So 8 draws, right? 8 draws, right? With that stat line,
in all the years before this season, they were all in the bottom half. 12, 13, 14, fighting relic before.
I know, but I'm saying, but with that stat line,
before Eddie Howe
I know it's mad to say, and look, Newcastle have been superb. I'm not taking that away from them, but with that stat line with 8 draws in seasons gone past, you're not getting anywhere with that. You're not getting anywhere with 8 draws like that. Because think about it, Liverpool are shocking, Chelsea are shocking, but with Arsenal, they've won. They've won 14 games.
How much money has Newcastle spent? Newcastle spent.
Yeah, I would say this.
Liverpool levels. They've lost 1 game, drawn 2.
It's a fair argument between the two of them. For me, top 3, I would go with Arteta number 1 because they've broken records. Even Wenger didn't have never had this many points after this amount of games. I'd go Eddie Howe number 2 because I think they're punching well above their weight this early. And number 3, I would go with Ten Hag because most people said no way near top 4. Some didn't even say top half the table. And after the start that he had and all the problems he's had this season, because we've all seen, right? And even Arteta that we're saying the best so far this year. Look how long it took him to like clear problems up and get things working. This guy's had the Ronaldo issue, the Maguire issue. This guy even had to drop his most informed player recently for like making a mistake. But the response to that has been brilliant. So for me, top 3 would be Arteta, Eddie Howe, Ten Hag, halfway through the season. By the end of the campaign, let's wait and see where everyone finishes in the trophies that are won. Because, you know, suddenly if Ten Hag finishes a second and wins 2 trophies, you might be talking about him being the best because trophies are the only commodity that our football clubs deal in. Well, 5 of our clubs. Do you know what I mean? And but listen, Arteta's done brilliantly this year, and I don't think it can be denied.
Potter's the worst manager in the top 7, though, isn't it? We can agree that.
I mean,
it's tough. It's tough.
If I was to ask you the question, the most underperforming manager this year, For me, it's a toss-up between Antonio Conte and Pep.
Yeah. Oh, Pep. No.
Pound for pound, it's got to be. I mean, David Moyes is in the conversation because they've dropped.
Klopp?
In the league or the top six? In the league or the top six?
Klopp said
top six managers.
Oh,
Klopp said at the start of the season. What? Hold on, no. So let me even go a bit further back. End of last season, he said, "Book your tickets
to Istanbul."
He then said, at the start of the season, we've got the best keeper, we've got the best right back, and he went through the whole team saying we have the best players in those positions. So if that's the case, he's of course undoubtedly number one. He is the biggest flop.
Yeah, definitely.